So, the biochemistry career path that I'm interested in is the medical career path. So, in order to get information about this career, I interviewed Dr. Dave Amaker out of Riverside Regional Medical Center. Dr. Amaker is a licensed neonatologist who very generously allowed me to take some time out of his busy schedule and interview with him to get more information about what the medical pathway looks like. So the first thing that we talked about were the educational requirements. So one of the first thing that he brought to my attention was the fact that it is a lot of schooling. Obviously, in addition to any undergraduate studies that we do here that go on, let's say here at Tech, there is additional medical responsibilities going forward. The 4 years of undergraduate here at Tech, plus another 4 years generally of medical school, plus another 2 or 3 years of residency, followed by another 2 years of fellowship or any other specialty training. What that means is it's very intensive, very demanding, very focused, deliberate work that needs to be done. Tests, quizzes, laboratories, studying. It's a lot of schooling. As a result, it's a huge time investment because you don't necessarily get to start working in this position until your late 20s or even your early 30s. So this is a huge, sometimes well over 10-year schooling commitment that you have to be willing to pursue. There's also a significant money investment. Med school and college in general, but med school especially, is not cheap. And years upon years upon years of schooling adds up. So he told me that this is something that someone who wants to pursue medicine is passionate about. There's money available, but it is a huge financial requirement and definitely a big concern to keep in mind. The most basic things that he said to hit on in undergraduate, though, are basic sciences, right? Obviously, the pre-med track has chemistry, biology, anatomy, physics, basic science understandings of it, and how it works. So he said to focus on that, get good grades in that, and then to just round out you as a student, which is the same advice that everyone gives nowadays. But he said that it's very important not to just be book smart, but also display a genuine interest in the field that you're trying to go into. So the second thing we talked about with work requirements and how that impacted the other aspects of his life. So for the work requirements, he said it varies based on specialty. There are some specialties that'll work a standard, 40-hour work week, 50-hour work week, maybe less sometimes. And then there are specialties that will consistently do 80 hours, 90 hours, 100 hours a week, which is a lot of time. And as a result, it can really eat into your personal time. The work-life balance, as a result, can be very skewed, especially if you have a family, if there are things that you enjoy doing that take up a lot of time. It can be hard on a family dynamic, and it can cause you to have to rethink your other desires and your other passions. However, he did say that obviously you're not working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And there's time for you to go in and pursue other things that you like doing. But because of the consuming nature of medical school and the medical career as a whole, that time gets very, very, very quickly shrunk down, which is definitely a consideration when thinking about potentially pursuing the medical career, is one willing and able to sacrifice their personal desires or their family life to a lesser extent than they would have if they would go into a different career field where they would be able to spend more time at home. And then finally, the biggest tips that he gave for undergrads is it's a hard career, but that doesn't mean that it's the wrong career. Just because something's difficult doesn't mean it's not worth doing. And he stressed that point and made it very, very, very clear. Obviously, it's hard for all of the reasons mentioned before, but that doesn't mean that it's not the right thing to do. Additionally, he said that it's not an overnight journey. If you look at the picture, right, one of the little graphics that people make for the trip to medical school, but it's a multi-step process with ups and downs, and you're certainly not going to get there overnight. Maybe not even overnight, over a week or a month or a year, but moving ever onward one step at a time will help you get to the point where you are able to be confident in your abilities and just be competitive and ready for either medical school or the medical career at that point. And then finally, just because someone who wants to pursue medicine has said they want to do that their whole life, or they want to do a specific specialty, let's say pediatrics or intestinal GI. If they want to specialize in that and they tell all their friends, their family, all that for their entire life, and then they suddenly have a change of heart, that's okay. Your passions and your goals and the job that you are striving for, it is important for you to find that and work for it, much more so than it is for you to uphold your reputation for your family or your friends. Focus on the thing that brings you the most joy and allows you to do the most good, rather than having to be stubborn and trying to force yourself into a career that'll make you unhappy, because ultimately that'll kill your work personal life balance, as it just sucks the life out of you at work all the time, and then transfers that negative energy and that negative emotional state to your personal life, which taints that as well. So this concludes my presentation. I wanted to say a big thank you to Dr. Amaker for allowing me to interview him, and a big thank you as well to Riverside Regional Medical Center for allowing me to take time and interview one of their physicians, pulling him away from his work with them. So thank you to any of them. And if there are no questions, thank you this concludes my presentation. Thank you for listening.